morning. You're far, far away today.
I am far, far away today. I am not close. I am on the east side. So I'm back in Halifax, east side of Canada. It's a beautiful day. I'm overlooking the water. It's stunning here.
And how is it there in the East Coast? Did they recover from everything that happened?
I have not seen because I just arrived later yesterday, so I haven't driven around yet to see some of the damage. So I'm a little nervous too, because there was another sort of very big tropical storm that came through here many, many years ago. And I remember driving around thinking, like, ugh, like it was just such a it's a hard feeling to see some of the trees that are down and some of the parks getting destroyed and people's houses and stuff. So I haven't driven around. I'm not sure I'm going to want to.
We only see it on, on our laptop screen or on our TV screen, and it's not the same, right?
It's not.
Once you go to see that devastation, but I imagine. I mean, I love not that kind of storm. I love watching storms when you're on the water and you're on the water. Have you ever been there when there's been a really big storm?
Oh my goodness. I have seen the best like electrical storms. Like I love watching like lightning and thunder, like being outside on a patio, knowing I'm not going to get hit by lightning.
Yeah. And it's just so cool if you're into it. I mean, I love it. That's why, I'm obviously in the water and I've seen lots and lots of storms over the years. Nothing that I'm, that I was scared of, but, have I seen damage? Yeah. When we had that big, massive storm and every single person's dock got damaged to, hundreds of thousands of dollars kind of damage.
Yeah. I think it's a fascinating thing to watch storms. I don't love seeing the damage afterwards, but I remember being at the cottage one time and seeing the storm come across the water. And it was just, it was beautiful and weird and like interesting. And the whole thing was just so fascinating.
Yeah. And the one place I've always wanted to go is Tofino. Right, that it's in BC, and there's some beautiful hotels that literally are for storm watching. So I've always wanted to do that. And I've been to BC a million times, British Columbia for our global audience, and I just haven't. I never managed to hook it into. And I kept saying every year, I'm going to go. It's one of those places, we all have places that we really want to go. I wouldn't say it's my bucket list because I never, I don't believe in bucket lists because I just believe in enjoying what you're doing. But it is one of those places I would love to go.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So what's going on with you?
We have a lot going on.
I thought I'd make it kind of slowly move into there.
Let me see. Well, I took a plane ride. That's pretty much my life.
So I've been buried in creating again. And so, it's interesting because we had just finished doing a successful summit for Forest 17. We are currently in the midst of, running another GIA visibility school. And I said to Stacy, it was about right after we finished the summit, right? Right after we finished the summit, I believe I'm paraphrasing, but my words were something to the effect that I just want to chill for a couple of months because we are constantly going. I didn't even see the summer. And it wasn't just business. It was also a lot of personal things that happened. Yep. And I said, let's just like chill for a couple of months and let's just run what we're doing. And then I stayed up and woke up one morning with an idea.
Yes, be careful when you hear Faye say, let's just chill for a while. But I think the difference is that when people think of creating something new, they get scared or they get nervous or they get overwhelmed. We get excited.
Yes.
I think that's the difference is like what gives you energy. Yeah. Well, I love like thinking and putting things together and what does that look like? And we've had a lot of conversations about what we've been putting together and it's like, yeah, we could do that. And yeah, we could do that. And wouldn't that be great? And people are really successful if they went through this, and let's do this first instead of this first. And that makes me excited. Like you and I were both one day, we just like hunkered down and we were just like boom, 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 back and forth. And that's the fun part of being an entrepreneur and the fun part of creating.
And I guess, I mean, for those of you who are new to us, who are watching, you know, we have two sides of our business, right? We have our consulting corporate side. So we work with a lot of big companies and help them with strategies and online marketing and everything else that they need to grow their businesses. And for us, our sandbox, our other side of the business, is working with business owners, professionals, and entrepreneurs who really need to learn the skill set, the strategies, the tools to really propel them in this kind of new economy. And we have we've been running, you know, some visibility schools and masterminds and small consulting, you know, with one-on-one for years now. And we wanted to kind of ramp that all up. And, you know, we were working on one thing, and then I kind of thought, let's incorporate it all, so that let's give the smaller businesses, the entrepreneurs, the professionals, the tools that they don't have to worry about going anywhere else. Because, you know, most people walk into like, oh, I need to learn how to list build. And so they go all over the internet and they try to find somebody to help them with list building. And then it's disjointed because it doesn't connect to everything else they need. Because once you implement one thing, you need the next, right? And that person
it's never a one and done.
No,
it's like everything's interconnected. Everything within your business is interconnected.
And so because we've grown, you know, we've started with an idea, grown businesses online, scaled businesses. We understand all the steps. We're very good at tech. We're very skilled in most of the strategies that are required. Well, all of the strategies really when you're going in an online business. So, you know, we decided, you know, between that and how strong a community can help, right? A professional community, not just people that are hanger-ons, right? But so we decided to put it all together. And so we're in the midst. We will have everything ready in the next day or two. And it's going to be fairly exclusive. So we're going to announce it. But I just want, why I wanted to bring it up was because, again, just when you think you're going to go down one path, you kind of change directions. And that's okay. And that's okay. Change directions for the better. Because we were not that we weren't successful doing it one way, but we were like, how can we make it better? How can we help people more?
I was just going to say, I don't feel like we changed directions. No. I feel what we did is we incorporated different pieces together.
Evolved it. Yeah, we evolved it.
Rather than, because we still have all of our pieces that are very successful, we just putting them together in a way that makes people grow faster, better, and together.
Together, which is the key, because I think sometimes, you know, I think everyone's moving into, I'm sick of being at home for the last couple of years. I want to get back out there, whether it's I want to get online with a group of people or I actually want to go live, you know, in person with a group of people. But I think everyone's been pushing in that direction, right? So so it's kind of, you know, sometimes things just happen at the right time. And for us, you know, as much as I said I wanted to chill, I always say that and I never do.
So, I don't think you would know what to do with your time if you chilled. No, like, what would you do? You catch up on all the Netflix shows you didn't know you had.
Well, I watch all the Netflix shows anyway because I don't sleep.
Right. So you'd be bored. Like, let's be real. You'd be bored.
I'd like to, you know, I always say I'd like to be bored for a day, just one day. I just want to see what it's like to be bored, like to not do anything, because I can't even imagine. So, I mean, even if I had absolutely no business to run, I'd be like reading books and then I'd probably write blogs and then, you know what I mean? One thing would lead to the next. So if you know your personality, right? I never really understood people that wanted to retire. Like, what does that mean? Like, unless you have a ton of hobbies, right? If you have a ton of hobbies, if you like to every day get up and go play golf and do, you know, whatever it is, cool. But like, other than that, if you don't have hobbies, what do you do? when you retire?
Well, I think there's two ends of that spectrum, right? There's the people who retire because they want to do something like play golf or have a hobby and they want to spend more time with it. Their job has come to sort of a natural sort of ending point.
Yeah.
But then there's the other side of the spectrum where it's I hate my job
Yeah.
and I don't have anything else to do, but I would rather do nothing than
Yeah.
continue to do my job. We're lucky because we love what we do. So
Right.
I don't even know what retirement's going to look like for us.
No, well, I don't think. First of all, I've always said my retirement plan is freedom when I die. Like I don't have that freedom 55 plan. So,
No.
no. So I mean, I don't see it, and I think what's really fascinating right now is there's a big movement to returnship, right? People are leaving obviously their jobs in droves right after COVID.
Mhm.
And then companies are now setting these returnship programs up where, people who are, you know, retired or just don't want to do it anymore. They've set up programs for them to come back into, different roles. I don't mean in the same company, but they've structured it so that they're looking for people with, who are experienced, they know what they're doing, and they just didn't want to keep, going down the path they were. And I really love that. And I think part of what I want to make sure that people out there are aware of is, a lot of people left after COVID their jobs, and they're like, well, I don't really know how to do anything else, and I can't, I'm 60 and I can't start a new job, or I can't be an entrepreneur. But we want to give you guys the tools to do a returnship, to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to return to the marketplace because I have a lot of skill to offer. And it's funny because as you get older and you've acquired all these skill sets, right? And then somebody asks you a question and it comes like boom off the top of your head. And then, if you're with a bunch of younger people that don't know the answer, it's always fascinating because you forget what you know, right?
Right.
And then they just kind of look at you and go, wow, how did you know that? Well, because I've been around forever.
Well, it's also the social piece. Like I know that's what my dad always said. So when he retired, sort of before that, he goes, I enjoy going to work because I enjoy the people I work with.
Right.
I enjoy the sort of the social, camaraderie kind of thing and the conversations that take place sort of around the water cooler or the
Yeah.
printer or the
Yeah.
computers or the offices, boardrooms, that kind of stuff. So that was his thing. So he goes, if I'm not working, I feel like I don't have that social piece. So he
Right.
worked till quite a long time. He didn't retire until he was 72, which
Right.
is quite late in life to
Yeah.
retire, but he enjoyed the people he worked with. So there's a lot to be said about community, like that, like
Yeah.
your job and the people you work with become your community. And
Right.
those are the people who are close to you. Those are the people you collaborate with. Those are the people you end up having conversations with. And those are the people you grow with. And to kind of walk away from that is sometimes difficult.
And that's why it's like great if you are retired to find like a professional community or somebody that people that you can continue the conversation. Because here's the thing, if you're, for example, retired and you don't need to work and you don't want to make money, okay, you don't, I mean, everyone wants to make money, but you don't need to make money, right?
Yeah.
So you need to you need to have your life have value. And so sometimes it's going into a group and mentoring, people who are just starting out who don't have your skill set. And that's rewarding in itself for a lot of people. I know we love when we, teach our students something and then they go implement. I mean, there's nothing better than to be able to see them be successful. So, so a lot of people, might be retired and watching us now. And you're like, if you're sitting there and you have this skill set, then, think about how you can actually give back, how you can add value and maybe cut off people's, years of struggle, right? And teach them some things that you already went through the hard way. You already learned it. You already know it, because that's really what it's about. It's about making, the next generation like learn and be able to move through those problems and create new and exciting different ideas to implement. So, you know, it's just, to me, it's kind of an exciting time because I don't know, like the word even retirement doesn't really sink in my brain, because back in the old days, people used to retire at 65. And then the big deal was, remember those, and that's why I said the commercials like Freedom 55, which was a program to retire at 55. But I don't like the word retire, because retire kind of feels like, you know, you go off to pasture.
You stop. Yeah, it seems to be like it's a finite end to something.
Yeah.
Where actually it can be a transitioner. I know people who retire, quote unquote, from sort of a bigger company organization, and then they move to like entrepreneurship or
Yeah.
consulting or speaking or whatever the case may be, because they still have, number one, a lot of energy, and they still have a lot to give, and they have a lot of
Yeah.
knowledge in their head. And you would hate for all that knowledge to kind of,
Yeah.
as you said, go out to pasture.
And a lot of people, they actually, you know, when they retire, they think that's what they want, right? They're like, I just don't want to do anything. And then they realize, okay, you know, I am bored. Maybe I can give back. Maybe I can do something. And sometimes it's like some people, you know, I don't, you know, I had to be with people all my career. I don't want to do it anymore. And then they end up writing a book, right? Which is great. Or maybe you do a weekly blog that shares your information, which is fantastic too. There's so many opportunities for you to continue. But yeah, in terms of, you know, just doing nothing, yeah, not so sure, because there is a lot of people, and we can name, you know, lists and lists of people who didn't even hit success until they were well into their 60s or 70s. Some people, you know, create whole companies. I think Colonel Sanders, a KFC dude, wasn't he like 65 or something when he started it? So
there's a lot. There is, you're right. There is a long list of people that sort of hit their stride after they sort of ended sort of their typical job.
And I think, you know, okay, Forbes and people, if you're listening to me, you know, they always put lists out like, you know, the most successful people under 30, or, you know what I mean? The 40 people
40 under 40.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Well, you know, wouldn't it be great to have a list of people that, you know, didn't hit it until after they retired? Wouldn't it be great for people to say, you know what, even if you're, you know, because if you're 40 and you haven't achieved it, people are like, well, it's too late now because, you know, I'm not on the 2030 list. No, it's not. It's whenever it comes. And success doesn't mean just monetarily, right? Success means, you know, maybe you're a well-established author and people are, you know, you're on all the podcasts and you're on TV and people are interviewing, and that's what you really want to do, is you share your knowledge. So I don't know, there's just so much out there now that shame on you if you're just sitting there doing nothing watching us.
No, but still watch, but just go back and do. You still have lots of life left.
But I'm hoping you're going to, you know, I'm hoping people are going to get excited and sit back and go, okay, like I know there's, for example, I'm talking a lot today. I don't know why. So I know, for example, there are women who are older than us who are retired and have spent their lives being homemakers, right?
Yeah.
So, and they are watching and going, you know, I don't really have anything to offer. Sure you do. It can be as simple as, you know, those people getting on TikTok and sharing all their you know, hacks about how to run a home, right? Or you might have really great knowledge on how to raise kids, or whatever, like working on how to have a successful marriage. Like there's so many skill sets that you can offer. And, you know, sometimes we don't elevate that the person that's at home that isn't really that never had the title, right? They never had a real,
well,
like,
I think that's what I'm really liking about a platform like TikTok, as an example. You brought that one up. Like, you know, people who are, you know, showing their hacks, showing their, you know, kitchen saving tips and tricks, money saving tips and tricks,
Yeah.
right? Like there's so many different ways to sort of manage a household. I actually remember back in my corporate days, we were looking to hire someone in sales, and they had been quite experienced in sales, sort of the beginning part of their career. And then there was a 3-year gap in their resume. And then they continued and they had another sort of sales job. And it was so creative because what she did during those 3 years was she was a homemaker. She was taking care of
Right.
her kids and managing the household. And how she listed that on her resume was
Yeah.
fascinating because it was like organizational skills, like
Yeah.
managing, multi-million dollar like
Yeah.
financial statements, had to budget this, schedules, like all of this kind of stuff. And she really built this homemaker's sort of job description on her resume as sort of an executive. And when you looked
Yeah.
at it, she was right. There was
Yeah.
so much that she gained that she was actually able to bring into the job that we were hiring for.
Yeah. And there's people that, I mean, you do things, I do things every day that people go, wow, never thought about that. That's a really great way of doing something. But unless it's shared, you wouldn't know. And so I think, yeah, it's a great opportunity for people, and it doesn't have to be on TikTok. You can share
No, it doesn't have to be on TikTok at all.
You can share it via blog, right? You can share it like so many different ways. You might even start a little email, for just some people, like it's a great way to keep your mind and your brain going, and being able to, again, share those techniques that you take for granted. It's kind of like, if you do something, you might be doing something gardening wise, which I suck at. So you might be doing something in the garden, and my dad, who's a great gardener, would come and say, what are you doing? You don't do that way. You do it this way. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So again, like every single day, you're coming across little hacks and things. And so if you are a treasure trove of them, go ahead. And I guess and the caveat is a lot of people will say, oh, there's already people doing it. No, they're not doing what you know. They're not doing what you know and how you do it, right?
And your spin on it, or your passion for it, or there's just something slightly different about the way that you'll position it.
Well, you know what? I remember,
really cool.
I'll give you a stupid example. So I remember somebody was up at the cottage and we were cooking, and I was chopping up a bunch of vegetables and stuff. And then, and so I was going to use them later. So I chop them up and I put them in little sandwich Ziploc bags. Right. And they looked at me and they go, why are you putting them in there? And I go, what do you mean? And they're like, well, I usually put them in containers and stuff. And I said, well, because they take less room in my fridge. And, when you have a lot of people here, you don't have room in your fridge. So I just put them in little bags and they can sneak them in. And it's like, she never thought of it. And so I don't like, where did I get that from? I don't know. I learned it from somebody. I don't know. I didn't make it up. So,
right. But again, to something that's sort of an everyday thing, or an everyday, you just do it, is somebody else's, oh my goodness, I never thought, like that wow moment.
Because other people would say, well, that's silly. I can just use containers. Okay, but you don't have 1 million people at your place and one fridge, right? So it just depends on your lifestyle. And it's kind of the same as we both know it's the same thing with tech tools. And that's why we, share our tech information with you guys, because, there's a lot of people that, like I'll be sitting with them and I'll be like, what are you doing? And they'll be doing this long thing. And I'm like, why don't you just use this? They're like,
because they did, but they didn't know.
They didn't know. So, and that's why we, and some of these new tools are like so cool and easy to use for everything. Like, I mean, I did you haven't probably tried it yet. I tried that AppSumo, the link thing, and there's another feature of it, which was so cool that I didn't even know it existed. So I was like,
it's hard to keep up.
I was like, what is that? And I clicked it and I'm like, holy shit, I got to call Stacy. That was yesterday. So I haven't called you yet.
You didn't call me.
So, But it's like
Yeah.
every day. And sometimes, we say like we don't even know what's in our software because they update it so much. I do love, there are a couple of, same thing, a couple of our software that we own that actually send out weekly information about what they've updated. And that's
Thank
very
goodness.
helpful. And then I usually just send it to Stacy.
And then
So
I
I
go,
just
oh, they added this. This is going to make my life so much easier. Or they've done this, or they've, taken this away or added this. Even there was one that something as simple as they took sort of 3 pieces of information that were on 3 different pages and they put it on one.
Right.
Not a major update, but that made my life easier because I didn't have to flip between different parts of the site to get to where I needed to go. So to me, when I'm doing things, that kind of stuff makes me happy. So even something
and
as
that's
simple
why I was I really like, anytime anyway, Google just sent, did you see Google Chrome? They sent that thing about the tabs.
Yes.
But I don't like it. But if it works for you, cool. Like you can group it, right? So, and grouping to me, when I hear group, I think group like together, but it's not that. They like color code the group while it's open. So you can go back to like-minded tabs.
Yeah,
right?
that doesn't help me.
I didn't like it
That's
at
what
all.
I like about ARC.
So
ARC has actual groups and actual
Yeah.
spots that I can actually find stuff. So
So but unless somebody points it out, you don't know. So if you have a treasure trove of stuff that you need to share, figure out how you can share it. Talk to us. Maybe you're perfect to join one of our groups, and that maybe you would be a perfect mentor for some of our students. If you run a business, whether it's online or brick and mortar, which many retired people have. And it's funny because the newer generation don't really know brick and mortar very well. So
very true. Very true.
Different skill set, right? Totally different skill set to run a business with employees as opposed to online, which is generally, third party and consultants.
Yeah,
and
different contractors and stuff like that. Yeah.
So, maybe we're developing this new piece, which we'll tell you about next week. We'll be ready to roll it out.
Yeah.
So we'll tell you all about it, but maybe, it's a perfect opportunity for some of you to come out and share and give back and say, you know what, I did really well. And I want to give back to some of the other people out there.
Exactly. And we get to, after this, we have a call, which is probably one of our favorite. It has to do with what we're putting together. So we will definitely let you know next week, but we actually get to test and demo a new software that we're looking into. So I'm really excited about that.
We're doing a test. So just again, information for you guys. We know who we want to use. However, you need to be sure it's who you want to use. And the only way you can do that is by testing competitors, because you're either it's going to say to you, yes, this is the right decision to go over there, or it's going to say, hey, this is actually better. So either way.
Or it also you can come up with questions, like you see something on another piece of software and go, oh, I didn't think to ask this question before you sign on the dotted line. So that's kind of where we're at. So we're going to go do that. So you have yourselves a great week, and we will see you here next time.
And don't forget about your returnship.